it's tough, but it's for me to want to push myself. This is what I do, this is what I live for. I'm ready for battle. I feel like I'm getting stronger, and I feel by the time the fight comes, I'll be at peak performance.
One more. One more. Beautiful, good. That's what we've got to bring him on to. Nobody can take them.
It's unbelievable how far and how wide sports can take you and the things that you get.
Anthony Joshua kicked off his first day of training camp as the countdown to his December 19th clash with Jake Paul officially gets underway. With the fight now locked in, Joshua is all business, moving with intent, sharpening every weapon with laser focus, and carrying the steady confidence of a former heavyweight champion. Jake Paul, who climbed from YouTube stardom to the boxing spotlight through non-stop controversy, continues to attract massive attention. But this time, he's stepping toward a seasoned powerhouse, one with true world-class experience and undeniable knockout danger.
The second leg of the training camp. I'm feeling energized, I'm feeling refreshed. So yeah, come inside, have a look what's going on. Tough training, tough lifestyle, rough and tough. But listen, how else would I want it? I love it. So what am I bringing differently? I wouldn't say a new mindset, but definitely like a new perspective. But ultimately, everything new has to lead to a win. So yeah, that's what I'm focused on right now, just winning. With training camp, it's grueling, like there's no doubt about that. But you just need to have a clear mind and be optimistic and run towards challenges every day. And that's how I'm able to get through, is just the perspective I have on what suffering looks like. There's a certain standard that one has to have if they want to achieve certain things. I am working past effort, measures that I set out for myself. Yes, it's tough. Yes.
Mike Coppinger revealed that the Anthony Joshua vs. Jake Paul showdown is now officially confirmed for December 2025, set to electrify Miami and stream globally on Netflix as a full-scale professional heavyweight contest.
Earlier that Anthony Joshua still didn't have an opponent for his next fight, but he was thinking of still fighting before the end of the year. And we've got some breaking news for you now, because we're hearing that AJ is in talks with Jake Paul over a deal for a heavyweight fight in Miami next month. Of course, the YouTuber Paul has already fought the former heavyweight champion of the world, Mike Tyson, and beaten him. And he's now in talks with Anthony Joshua with a view to the two of them fighting in Miami.
Eddie Hearn pushed back on some of the early reports, but he eventually confirmed the fight himself, making it clear that this won't be an exhibition or a gimmick spectacle. He stressed that the matchup will unfold under full Queensberry rules, no altered formats, no oversized gloves, no shortened rounds. Both fighters will wear regulation 10-ounce gloves, compete in standard rounds, and walk into a ring governed by the complete, uncompromised rulebook of professional boxing.
Ring Magazine, Anthony Joshua, your man, and Jake Paul are finalising a deal for a December heavyweight fight in Florida. True or false?
I mean, the gun was jumped a little bit and fired early. There have been conversations. For us, we were flirting with the idea of having this little 8-round fight this year. Not with Jake Paul, by the way, because he was fighting Gervonta Davis.
Yeah, that's no.
But we were going to go on a other card somewhere. You wouldn't have really heard of the person we were going to fight. But AJ wanted to go through the motions, wrap the hands, and just gear up to what is really in the works with Turki Al-Sheikh, which is 2 fights in 2026, and that includes Tyson Fury. That's the plan for Turki Al-Sheikh. We received a phone call from Nikisa Baldirian, from MVP, who, by the way, we've spoke to a few months before, talking to us about the fight, and he said, look, would you want to fight Jake Paul? And I said, listen, I don't want to just be a publicity muppet for you, you know, telling everybody that you offered the fight to Anthony Joshua. If you're serious, we can discuss the numbers, and if there's a chance for us to run out in December and, you know, take care of this bloke and get him out of the boxing world and make several tens of millions in the process, of course, we will consider it. And that's basically where we are at now.
And do the numbers stack up?
Of course, I mean, like, you know, it's difficult to have this conversation. I think sometimes...
He told Sky Sports that they have absolutely zero interest in exhibitions. None whatsoever. If Jake Paul wants to fight, it must be a real sanctioned bout at a properly contracted weight. Still, despite his firm stance, Hearn added a note of caution, reminding everyone that the deal isn't fully finalized yet. He gave the fight a 50-50 chance, admitting there are still plenty of negotiations ahead before anything becomes official.
Dangerous for Jake Paul. You know, I've got the general feedback is the boxing world saying, please AJ, go in and evaporate this young man from the boxing world so we can all get on as normal. You've got Jake Paul fans thinking bizarrely they can beat Anthony Joshua. And the most bizarre thing out of everything is that Jake Paul genuinely believes he will beat Anthony Joshua. I think that's the only reason we're going to see this fight, but I truly believe.
Hearn described Jake Paul as bold enough to chase this fight even with Joshua standing there as a genuine heavyweight monster. He didn't deny the massive payday waiting for both men. But beneath the excitement, he highlighted the brutal danger of throwing an inexperienced Paul into the ring with a fully seasoned AJ, calling it a catastrophic mismatch that could end Paul's career, whether literally or in the eyes of the public forever.
Paul Anthony Joshua 50-50 fight, what do you make of that?
Yeah, I just said in another interview, great if it is. I mean, if it is, then you've got no problem seeing it. But when AJ, I mean, decapitate's a strong word, but you know, when he renders Jake Paul unconscious like he did to Francis Ngannou, don't then say, oh well, it was Jake Paul. Do you know what I mean? I mean, when AJ beat Francis Ngannou, Ngannou just had a fight that could have gone either way with Tyson Fury. Then AJ poleaxed him and everyone just said he's just an MMA fighter. Do you know what I mean? Jake Paul's not Francis Ngannou. But as I said before, if you want to see Jake Paul exit the box.
However, Hearn also admitted that Paul knows exactly what he's doing, calling out real professional fighters who guarantee massive paydays every time his name gets attached.
Just quickly, I watched Jake Paul the weekend. I feel a bit dirty saying that because I'm not a fan of his, but he did say after the fight that he's sort of having DMs or he's dropping text messages to AJ. They're having a chat about a potential fight. What's your view on that, Eddie?
Well, look, he's calling out Gervonta Davis, who is a 135-pound lightweight, and he's calling out Anthony Joshua, that's a heavyweight monster. I think Jake Paul is crazy enough to fight Anthony Joshua because the money would be absolutely obscene. It's a catastrophic mismatch that people would tune in to watch because it would lead to the end of Jake Paul. Hopefully not literally, but it's that dangerous that, you know, it's a fight that I don't think should really happen, if I'm honest. I would say about Jake Paul, and I've said this in a couple of interviews today, I do think you start after giving him a margin of respect. You know, I think this guy is going through the motions, he's putting the hard spars in. He just went 10 rounds with, yes, a washed up fighter, but a former world champion that did train for that fight. But they're very clever in terms of the opponents that they pick. They're not going to gamble unless the money's out of control. And it wouldn't surprise me if Jake Paul, wanted to move forward with an Anthony Joshua fight. Honestly, AJ's coming tonight. He's not exactly looking at Jake Paul going, oh, that's my dream opponent. No. Would he go in there and give him a hiding for, you know, a massive chunk of money? Probably. I'd be sad.
Simon Jordan admitted that despite all his criticism, the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul matchup might actually bring some value to boxing. He acknowledged that the fight will attract enormous global attention, pull in millions of new viewers, and open huge financial opportunities for everyone involved. Jordan emphasized that boxing is at its core business and pairing a former heavyweight champion with one of the world's biggest digital entertainers is guaranteed to generate money headlines and mainstream interest. He believes the spectacle will draw casual fans, spark debates, and keep boxing alive in the public conversation. And while he still questions the competitive legitimacy of the fight, he concedes that financially and commercially, it could be a massive win for the sport.
Entertainment business. And Anthony Joshua is an entertainer. And you can't undo the fact that he won the World Heavyweight Championship twice. And he fought in some great fights.
So why does he need this?
Because he's in the business of entertainment. And if an opportunity is presented to him and someone wants to say that we can monetize this to the huge levels that are potentially available, why wouldn't you? It's a walk in the park.
You see, you're not having Saturday night.
Because
but many people wouldn't have this.
I'm not having...
Because this isn't a proper fight where a Saturday night is.
But I don't think this is a proper... I don't think that I would ever consider having a debate about whether Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul is a proper fight between two bona fide champions. I think Jake Paul is someone that's creating a lot of opportunity for himself and using sport as the anchor for it. And will I watch it? No. And do I value it? No. But when I'm asked to be confronted with a fight between two legends' sons and then get involved in all of them.
Jordan also criticized the Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr. fight, arguing that the entire promotion leaned on nostalgia rather than genuine sporting merit. He said the matchup relied on the legacy of their father's iconic 1990s rivalry instead of either fighter's own accomplishments. Jordan accused promoters of weaponizing history to distract from the reality that the fight made little competitive sense, especially with Ben moving up in weight and Eubank Jr. draining himself dangerously low. He compared that situation to Joshua versus Paul, calling it another blatant cash grab rather than a legitimate contest, a mismatch between a former heavyweight champion and a social media star that he fears damages the sport's integrity. He even questioned whether the bout should be sanctioned at all, warning about the physical risk Jake Paul would be taking and suggesting that Joshua's legacy could suffer long-term consequences if he chooses to go down this path.
The kind of returns that they're going to get for the level that they've operated in their careers. And that's one of my issues around the Conor Ben Eubank fight. This fight over here with Anthony Joshua, I know what this is. No one can dress this up. This is a turd that will get polished into a huge pile of money. And if you know that from the outset, so I don't have any illusions about it. Neither does anybody else. Nobody thinks that this is a real fight. Nobody thought, I mean, Spencer tried his very level best and will never try it again to convince us that Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. Well, this is something similar for different reasons. Anthony Joshua is still a live heavyweight, and if he hits Jake Paul's going to get hurt. And some people might think that's a good thing to happen to him, to learn his lesson. But he is also now fighting. He's got a fighter's license. And the question should be along the lines of what Chris Eubank Sr. was raising. Is it right? Is this appropriate that a high-performing supreme athlete like Anthony Joshua, whose only real challenges now are probably in his mind, because physically he can operate at the highest level if he still chose to, should be stepping in against someone like Jake Paul that does not have the skill set to deal with the kind of power and expertise that Anthony Joshua has? And should boxing be sanctioning this? This is the bigger question.
Oh, that's true. That is true. Having said all that, Netflix tell us 60 million households worldwide tuned in live to see Mike Tyson take on Jake Paul. Why would Jake Paul end up fighting?
Adding to the growing conversation, boxing legend Roy Jones Jr. shared a cautious take on the Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua fight. He emphasized that the matchup must make strategic sense for Joshua, not just financially but competitively as well, reminding fans that legacy and long-term planning matter just as much as hype and headlines.